My boyfriend had a female bro final part. While I was gorging myself, I saw Olivia resting her elbows on the table, watching me with a melting smile, bright as the moon through the branches. Great, she definitely wanted to laugh at me for eating too much. Nate noticed Olivia's gaze and gave me a subtle pinch. His expression was cold and stern. The subtext was telling me not to embarrass him. I sheepishly wiped my mouth, sat back in my seat, and sipped my wine idly. After the party, the guests all drove away. Olivia's hair was a bit messy. She had drank quite a bit, and her gaze stuck to me like syrup. Her stare made me incredibly uncomfortable, and I quickly looked for an excuse to leave. But Olivia's voice rang out, "It's too late. Just stay over here tonight." Sure. Before I could even speak, Nate accepted for me. "Then Emma and I will stay on the first floor." "Nate, you can take the second floor," Olivia said with a smile. I whispered to Nate, "I want to go home. My head hurts since the party started. I had a headache and felt chills all over." Nate shot me a look. "Just lie down for a bit and you'll be fine. You're so high maintenance. I didn't know how to drive, so I had no choice but to stay at Olivia's house." I climbed into bed, wrapping the blankets tightly around me. My body was starting to burn up. At Olivia's house, I felt too embarrassed to bother her. I wanted to tough it out until tomorrow. I tossed and turned in bed, falling into a groggy, half-awake state. The room was quiet and dark. A massive clap of thunder suddenly lit up the entire room. I realized my body was already burning like a small furnace. It felt like boiling heat radiating from my very bones. I forced myself to try and get up. I needed to find Olivia for some ibuprofen. I wouldn't make it to tomorrow like this. I was acutely and painfully aware of this fact. I tried to climb out of bed, took 2 steps, my legs gave out, and I crashed to the floor. The thud pierced the silence of the night. Then my door was gently pushed open. The lightning outside illuminated the person standing in the doorway, accompanied by the pouring rain. I clearly saw that it was Olivia. The lightning illuminated the distance between us as she walked toward me, step by step, her eyes deep and dark. Her hands were icy cold as she touched my forehead. "Why didn't you tell me your fever was this bad?" "I was afraid of bothering you," I stammered due to being sick, my voice low. "I just moved into this mansion. I haven't stocked up on medicine yet. I'm taking you to the ER." "Thank you." Those slender hands gripped my waist, and then, she scooped me up effortlessly into a tight embrace. She put a raincoat on me, and I let her maneuver me in my hazy state. I even forgot to ask for Nate. Afraid I'd get wet, she secured the hood and put a mask on me. My mind was a chaotic mess, but somehow, I said to her, "Happy birthday, Olivia." Her body stiffened. She leaned down, her warm breath hitting my ear. "Why didn't you say it during the dinner party? Everyone else did. Why did you hide in the corner?" My brain was a tangled mess, but I vaguely remembered. It was because I was too intimidated. She stood there so radiantly, many people raising their glasses to her. I inexplicably shrank back, but I still remembered I had to wish her a happy birthday, so I took advantage of now, while we were alone together. I said it out loud. "Emma, you idiot." Suddenly, a shiver shot up my spine from my tailbone. I almost convulsed. I felt my earlobe being taken into someone's mouth and gently bitten, cold and gentle. In my dazed state, I was carried into the car and fell asleep in the back seat. I don't know how much time passed. When I opened my eyes again, I was clinging to Olivia's back. In my ears was the drumbeat of torrential rain, and before my eyes was a stretching, dark gray highway. The pitch-black night was illuminated only by pools of warm yellow streetlights, which seemed to wrap around her and me. I instinctively grabbed Olivia's shoulders. "Olivia, put me down. I can walk. The rain is too heavy." The car stalled halfway. "It's 3 miles left, and the hospital is just down the hill. Be a good girl. Stay still." "No, you're so skinny. How can you carry me? I'm heavy. Put me down. I can walk myself. You're burning up like a little fireball. How could I let you walk?" Her voice rose, filled with unquestionable resolve. But then, afraid of scaring me, she lowered her voice to coax me. "I work out. Carrying you is nothing. Be good. Hold on tight. We'll be there soon." I had no idea how someone so thin could have so much strength. She carried me, trudging solidly through the pouring rain for 3 miles. Seeing her afraid I'd get wet, she had draped her raincoat over me. She wore a windbreaker, and the raindrops smashed against her clothes with loud smacks. Some raindrops slid down her forehead and fell from her hair, falling like a string of pearls. I couldn't tell if it was rain or my tears anymore. I said, "Put me down. I can walk." She said, "Silly Emma, how could I bear to let you suffer?" Because of the time Olivia took me to the hospital, I was incredibly grateful. I swore I would never call her a toxic pick-me again. I started actively inviting Olivia over to our place. I humbly and earnestly, blushing, asked Nate for his permission. Nate looked at me with an expression that said, "Finally, you're being reasonable." Nate was exceptionally eager that day. He ran out to buy Olivia's favorite groceries, saying he was going to show off his cooking skills. Even though we had lived together for so long, he rarely cooked for me, but I didn't care anymore. Olivia showed up that day carrying a few bottles of red wine. She smiled and said, "These are from my family's vineyard in France. We'll open a bottle to taste with dinner." Nate was wearing an apron, cooking in the kitchen. Olivia and I sat on the rug watching TV, thinking about how she carried me to the hospital. I sincerely thanked her. "Thank you, Liv. Without you, my fever would have fried my brain." Olivia cast a casual glance toward the kitchen, the corners of her mouth curling up slightly. Her clear eyes watched me, holding what seemed like a rippling little spring, emotions gently undulating like ripples. From the kitchen came the loud sizzle and pop of cooking. It sounded like Nate had already fired up the wok. In an instant, Olivia leaned over me. She dropped to one knee, her hands planted on the rug, completely caging me in. Olivia's face was quite striking, like a Western version of Anne Hathaway. She tilted her head slightly, looking at me me like a highly excited cat that had just caught its prey. This is how you can thank me. Her lips conquered mine like an invading army. Rather than a kiss, I'd call it a ravaging. Bastard, how did she know how to use tongue? I tried to push her away, but I couldn't move her at all. This was absolutely not a peaceful, moonlight gentle kiss. It was like two wild beasts tearing into each other in the wilderness, branding each other with their mark. The cooking noises in the kitchen crackled and popped. Olivia and I kissed until the world spun. My tongue is very agile, isn't it? Her voice was husky, carrying a bewitching edge. She was so skinny, her chest completely flat. Pressed against mine, it actually hurt. We desperately explored each other's secrets, urgent, fierce, passionate. Suddenly, the cooking noises in the kitchen stopped. Olivia and I quickly separated. Olivia casually picked up a sparkling water from the table and took a sip. I wiped my lips and started fiddling with a plushie on the table. Sure enough, when people are nervous, they look for something to do. Nate walked out carrying dishes. Seeing us, he smiled and said, "You guys must be hungry. Dinner's ready." I couldn't look at Nate. My heart was pounding so loudly I was sure he could hear it. Olivia, on the other hand, was completely composed, calmly sipping her sparkling water like nothing had happened. Dinner was excruciating. Nate kept trying to make conversation, but I could barely form coherent sentences. Olivia was the picture of ease, laughing at Nate's jokes, complimenting his cooking, occasionally shooting me glances that made my stomach flip. After dinner, Nate offered to walk Olivia out. I stayed at the table, staring at my empty plate, my mind racing. What just happened? Why did Olivia kiss me? And why didn't I hate it? Nate came back, looking pleased. She said she had a great time. We should invite her over more often, I nodded, not trusting my voice. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the kiss in my head, the way Olivia had caged me in, the way her tongue had moved against mine, the way she had looked at me afterward. It was confusing and terrifying and electrifying all at once. My phone buzzed. A text from Olivia. "Can't sleep either." I stared at the screen, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. What was I supposed to say? "Yes, I can't sleep because you kissed me and now I can't stop thinking about it." I typed back. "A little," she replied almost instantly. "Come over. I'll make you tea." I should have said no. I should have stayed in bed and pretended nothing happened. But instead, I found myself pulling on a jacket and slipping out the door. When I arrived at her mansion, she was waiting at the door, wearing a silk robe. She didn't say anything. She just took my hand and led me inside. In the kitchen, she made me chamomile tea. We sat in silence for a long moment. Then she said, "I've liked you for a while, Emma. I know it's complicated. I know you're with Nate." But I couldn't keep pretending I didn't know what to say. So I just looked at her, and she looked back, and somehow, that was enough. I didn't go home that night. And in the morning, I knew I had a choice to make.